as that and all other things, and it took him just a few months with Leon Levinsky to become in there with all the terms and the jargon, the style of intellectuality. Nonetheless, I loved him for his madness, and we got drunk together in the Linden Bar behind my house, and I agreed that he could stay at my house till he found a job, and we furthermore agreed to go out west sometime. That was the winter of 1947. Shortly after meeting Neil, I began writing or painting my huge town and city, and I was about 4 chapters on when one night when Neil ate supper at my house, and he had already had a new parking lot job in New York, the Hotel N.Y. Yorker lot on 34th Street. He leaned over my shoulder as I typed rapidly away and said, "Come on, man, those girls won't wait, make it fast." And I said, "Hold on just a minute. I'll be right there with you as soon as I finish this chapter." And it was one of the best chapters in the whole book. Then I dressed and off we flew to New York to meet some girls. And as you know, to go from Ozone Park to New York takes about an hour by elevated subway. And as we rode in the L over the rooftops of Brooklyn, we leaned on each other with fingers waving and yelled and talked exactly as I was beginning to get the bug like Neil. In all, what Neil was tremendously excited with life. And though he was a con man, he was only conning because he wanted so much to live and also to get involved with people that would otherwise pay no attention to him. He was conning me, so-called, and I knew it. And he knew I knew. This had been the basis of our relation. But I didn't care, and we got along fine. I began to learn from him as much as he probably learned from me. As far as my work was concerned, he said, "Go ahead, everything you do is great." We went to New York. I forget what the situation was. 2 girls, there were no girls there. They were supposed to meet him or some such thing, and they weren't there. We went to his parking lot where he had a few things to do. Change his clothes in the shack and back and spruce up a bit in front of a cracked shack mirror and so on. And so we took off. And that was the night Neil met Leon Levinsky. I mean, of course, Allen Ginsberg. 2 keen minds that they took to each other at the drop of a hat. 2 piercing eyes glanced into 2 piercing eyes. The holy con man and the great, sorrowful, poetic con man that is Allen Ginsberg. From that moment on, I saw very little of Neil, and I was a little sorry too. Their energies had met head on. I was a lout compared. I couldn't keep up with them. The whole mad swirl of everything that was to come then began, which would mix up all my friends and all I had left of my family into a big dust cloud over the American night. They talked of Burroughs, Hunky, Vicky, Burroughs in Texas, Hunky on Rikers Island, Vicky hung up with Norman Schnall all the time, and Neil told Allen of people in the West like Jim Holmes, the hunchback pool hall rotation shark, and card player and queer saint. He told him of Bill Thompson, Al Hinkle, his boyhood buddies, his street buddies. They rushed down the street together, digging everything in the early way that they had, which was later now become so much sadder and perceptive. But then they danced down the street like dingle duties, and I shambled after as usual, as I've been doing all my life after people that interest me, because the only people that interest me are the mad ones. The ones who are mad to live, mad to talk, desirous of everything at the same time. The ones that never yawn or say a commonplace thing like, they just burn, burn, burn like Roman candles across the night. Allen was queer in those days, experimenting with himself to the hilt, and Neil saw that. And a former boyfriend, hustler himself in Denver night, and wanting dearly to know how to write poetry like Allen, the first thing you know, he was attacking Allen with a great amorous soul, such as only a con man can have. I was in the same room. I heard them across the darkness, and I mused to myself, now something started, but I don't want anything to do with it. So I didn't see them for about 2 weeks, during which they cemented their relationship to mad proportions. Then came the time of traveling, spring. And everybody in the scattered gang was getting ready to take one trip or another. I was busily at work on my novel, and when I came to the halfway mark after a trip down south with my mother to visit my sister, I got ready to travel west for the very first time. Neil had already left. Alan and I saw him off at the 34th Street Greyhound bus station. Upstairs they have a place where you can make pictures for a quarter. Alan took off his glasses and looked sinister. Neil made a profile shot and looked coyly around. I took a straight picture that made me look, as Lucien said, like a 30-year-old Italian who'd kill anybody who'd said anything against his mother.